Vice Mayor McKervey.
Yeah, I just have a few things. First of all, congratulations, Mr. Tree. I mean, that's big. We got our budget done tonight. I think it's a milestone meeting tonight. I'm really excited about a lot of things that are going on in our city, especially that Mighty 190 had a great contact out in the county at a meeting recently about how we may continue to build on what Kathy has been doing down there. She's been spearheading most of that. There's a lot of great volunteers that she gets involved, but some good discussion tonight in the break about murals and things like that. We have to continue to build on that success and turning what was once a very difficult and challenging thing where everyone was living down there now to a place where we can go and enjoy a green space together and have community events. And so let's continue to support Kathy and all of those things in any way that we can. And as we go into the heritage, and we'll talk about that probably at the next meeting, we'll talk about maybe adding some events down at the Parkway to make that a destination. When you read the history of Porterville, that's where people used to go and picnic. Let's make it that way again. I know that there's a lot of things I want to say, but I'm going to keep this simple tonight. And I want to make a statement on common sense. You know, went to West Putnam School as a child, kindergarten. And I remember playing blocks, and I got in trouble a lot, as any young rambunctious boy might. And, you know, you always try to tell the teacher, you know, hey, teacher, you know, this or that. And you know, I learned a real important lesson in kindergarten that when I would point to people's bad behavior to try to justify my own bad behavior, that wasn't allowed. So as a child, you have to grow up, because you can't point to someone's bad behavior to justify your own bad behavior, because that's immaturity. That's infantilism. Now, when I got a little older, and I used to ride my skateboard 2 miles to get to Bellevue School, Miss Dinwiddie reminded me in the 2nd grade, she reminded me why you don't point to bad behavior to justify your own bad behavior. Because when you're a grown-up, you don't do that. So when I see people politicize violence, like saying, well, you don't care about these people, you only care about those people. We need to care about all people. And we need to be thinking about violence in the right way as adults and not pointing to bad behavior to justify bad behavior. The infantilized culture that we have right now disgusts me. And when people come into this chamber, lobbyists for things, let's just talk about this for a second. The shameful outbursts in our chambers that promote or normalize violence are hateful. That's not loving your neighbor. That's not good political discourse. It's not good mature discourse. It's terrible discourse. And it promotes violence, and it promotes hatred, and it's not going to be tolerated in a civil society. It's unacceptable. When we get to a point in our society where cultural Marxism and politics is more important than people's lives, we have problems, because you start to think, well, it's okay for some people to die so others can live. That's wrong. You know, Gen Z, if you look at the statistics on Gen Z, just Gen Z, 28% of Gen Z was aborted in the womb. 28%. Mostly people of color. And this is a euphemism for democide. They call it medical care. But the coarsening of our culture and the infantilism of our culture has caused us, the discourse, to be at a level of a kindergartner. And it needs to stop. And I'd like to call for everyone here and everybody watching for prayer. And I said this when somebody came and attacked someone, our students in one of our schools. And I said, if they attack one of us, they attack all of us. We don't play favorites when it comes to violence. Violence is a crime. We don't condone it. We don't accept it. We don't promote it. We don't normalize it. And I would call on the faith people in this community to come together and have some prayer vigils. Let's bring maturity. Let's bring virtue. Let's bring pro-life back into the culture and the conversation in our city, in our county, in our state, our country, and our world. There's something going on right now, and you can't ignore it. It's not going away. People are sick and tired of it because we can't condone violence. Violence is a crime against all of us, and don't politicize it. And if I see and continue to see the infantilism that comes with it, where people are saying, well, it's okay for that person to die, you see people getting fired all over the place because it's unacceptable. And when you come into these chambers and you mock the mayor of our city, an elected official, for trying to stand up for what's right, that's a shame. That shouldn't be happening in these chambers. It shouldn't be happening anywhere. And I would call on the faith community to come together in prayer for Charlie, for that young lady who was murdered on the subway after he'd been let out of prison 14 times. That's terrible. What's happened to us? We need to get back to law and order. We need to take care of our kids, and we need to stop politicizing violence, because this is unacceptable. It should be unacceptable to everyone. And we have to be adults, not kindergartners. It's never good to mock someone's death. And then when you mock the mayor, when he tries to stand up for the right thing, it's shameful. And I'm just tired of it. And that's a common sense commentary for me tonight. And I would just call on the faith community to come together. Let's get our identity back. Let's figure out what right and wrong is again. Let's figure out what good and evil is again. And let's start calling it out for what it is. And that's what I want to say, Mayor.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The philosophical one is always so good at it.